Hi guys, welcome to my little presentation about CAPSIM. I will basically talk about this management strategy simulation software today, and I will give you some tips on how you can actually succeed at it. So first of all, I briefly want to share how I got in touch with this software. Basically, I was taking a strategy course in strategic management at National Cheng Kung University in Taipei, where I'm enrolled as an IMBA student. And as part of this course, we also had to engage in CAPSIM. It accounted quite a bit of our grade, so we were forced to take it very seriously. And that's also why we engaged quite thoroughly with it. And it turns out there's some rather simple things you can do in order to be maybe more successful than your peers. And I basically just want to demonstrate some of those aspects today. So the first topic I want to get into is actually forecasting. So what is forecasting all about? Basically, each year when you plan your KPIs and when you plan your production, you first um, have to make a forecast basically, so you can plan on how much to produce. And while there's no clear, while there's maybe no clear best strategy on how to forecast, the one that we chose worked rather well. And basically, what we did is that we took the initial size of the segment in round zero. We then multiplied it by the growth rate for each individual segment for each round, because I mean the growth rates don't really change a lot, so you can already do it in the very beginning actually. You just have to check every once in a while that you're still on track. But normally this works quite well. Um, we then multiplied this number, for example, when you're in round zero, with the like we took the number for round one, of course, in round zero, like the forecast for round one, and we then multiplied this by the potential market share you can gain, you're supposed to gain in the next round, and this gives you a rather good forecast for your sales target, but you shouldn't actually use this figure when planning your production. I would recommend you that you multiply this by a factor of 1.15, because you don't really want to sell out in the game. So this is a rather conservative estimate if you just take the potential market share. So we would recommend you basically to add a little bit on top of that. And yeah, that just helps you, as I said, to not sell out. If you follow this approach to forecasting, I'm pretty sure that you will do rather well. Next, I just want to make four brief remarks before finishing with my little wrap up about CAPSIM. Um, my first tip would basically be to plan your strategy before the first round commences. Um, you will see once you start playing the game that although it doesn't look too complicated, it actually takes a huge amount of time, especially in the beginning, just to input all the numbers, because it's just quite challenging to get a hold of the game. And hence, if you don't have your strategy ready in the first round, if you actually don't really know what you want to do, then you will just spend huge amounts of time already in the first week of the game, and it's going to frustrate you. And it will lead to bad decisions if you're just annoyed in the end. So I would really recommend you to plan out your strategy from the beginning. Um, yeah. The second point I would really want to stress, and maybe this is already the most important point that I would recommend you to do, is that automation is the key to success. My team and I, we failed to realize this basically in the beginning. We thought that the repositioning advantage we would get by having low automation, i.e., by being able to reposition products very quickly, that this would outweigh um, the higher production cost we have due to the lack of automation we have. But this is not true. Let me tell you, this is absolutely not true. If you do not up your automation from the very beginning, you will lose the game, because even though you might sell more than your competitors because you're able to reposition your product more quickly, you simply don't make money with that. So that happened to us in the beginning. We were selling huge amounts of volume, but in the end, that didn't really help us because we simply weren't making any money with it. So please heed my advice, up your automation. Otherwise, you're bound to fail, basically. And my last remarks are actually about uh, strategy on how you can up your automation. And this is basically a trick that worked very well for me in a CAPSIM challenge. Um, Basically, what I would recommend you to do is that you sell off one segment in the very beginning, like you sell off all the capacity in the very first round for one segment, and this gives you the money you need. Um, that's basically gives you the money you need um, in order to up your automation in the traditional and low end segment. You will see that your competitors, they will be blown away by the margins you can gain by this already in round two. So you will be basically the only team in the challenge that will have automation at 10 in low and traditional and already in the very first 3 rounds basically. No one else will be able to afford this if they don't sell off a segment. Um, And last but not least, this is a rather general advice, but I would really recommend you to follow it. Basically, always benchmark your strategy. Once you see that your strategy is not working, be willing to abandon it. I mean, that doesn't mean you should abandon it in the very first round if you don't make money with it, because that could be normal. But if you don't make any profit by round four, you should really seriously consider to change course and just to save what you can still save. And that's a thing we also realized because our strategy didn't really work with the low automation. So after round three, or round four actually, we realized this and we just started to invest in automation. We still ended up doing not super badly in the game. And so I think from personal experience, it's just important that you're willing to adjust strategy once you realize it's not working. Well, thank you very much for listening to me. And if you have any questions, you can just contact me here on YouTube. Thank you very much.